In April 2010, police outside Charleston, West Virginia, found a silver SUV abandoned on the shoulder of a highway. A white towel hung from the driver's side window, the universal signal for a breakdown. But when investigators put a key in the ignition, the engine purred to life. The car was in perfect working order. Across town, they found a second scene that made even less sense. Inside the eerily spotless apartment, the missing driver's cell phone, her daily medication, and her spare car keys were sitting neatly on the kitchen counter. These two locations belonged to a 64-year-old woman named Kathy Goble. Looking at them together, detectives realized they weren't dealing with a voluntary disappearance. Someone had meticulously prepared both the vehicle and the apartment to look like she had simply walked away. Neither the highway nor the apartment yielded fingerprints, DNA, or signs of a struggle. This lack of physical leads meant the forensic labs offered nothing to work with. Detectives were forced to shift their focus away from the scenes and toward the people in Kathy's life. On the surface, Kathy Goble lived a highly social, seemingly straightforward life in Charleston. For a decade, she worked as a sales clerk at a high-end menswear store. She was naturally outgoing, spending her days pulling suit jackets off the racks and building such strong relationships with her clients that men from all over town would come in specifically to buy from her. But her private life was a tangled knot of competing obligations. She spent her free time caring for her ex-husband, who was recovering from a severe stroke. At the same time, she was dodging a marriage proposal from her current boyfriend of 2 years. And, entirely in secret, she was having an affair with a wealthy radiologist who showered her with expensive gifts. This overlapping web of romantic tension provided a pre-built smokescreen for whoever took her. And in every direction investigators looked, they found someone with a motive, a secret, or a reason to lie. The police quickly learned that having too many highly plausible suspects is just as paralyzing to an investigation as having none at all. Detectives mapped out Kathy's final hours, building a network of every person she encountered that Saturday. The first flag went up at the menswear store. Hours before she vanished, Kathy got into an explosive public screaming match with a coworker's daughter who was demanding prescription pills. When police tracked this young woman down, she admitted to the fight, agreed to a polygraph test, and then completely disappeared. Then there was the wealthy radiologist. Kathy had sneaked out for a secret lunch with him that exact same afternoon. When questioned, he acted incredibly defensive and begged police not to contact his wife. But when they finally did, his wife unwittingly provided him with an ironclad alibi for the night of the disappearance. That left Kathy's evening movements. After her shift ended, she stopped by to help her dependent ex-husband with chores. From there, she drove to her current boyfriend Fred's apartment, intending to clean it while he was out of town on a fishing trip. Fred's behavior during his police interview sent alarm bells ringing. He was unusually nervous, avoided eye contact, and kept referring to Kathy in the past tense, talking about how forgetful she was, even though she had only been missing for 2 days. Detectives thought they had their man. But then they pulled Kathy's phone records and found one last call to a friend, made right as Kathy unlocked Fred's front door. Before hanging up, Kathy told her friend, "We're going into Fred's apartment." She was with someone else. That single pronoun shifted the focus of the investigation. If Kathy brought someone else into the apartment while Fred was out of town, the case against him couldn't be sustained. Every promising lead investigators followed ultimately hit a dead end. Forensic reports continued to offer no way forward. The steering wheel of the abandoned SUV yielded no fingerprints. Fred's apartment offered no foreign DNA. And Kathy's bank accounts flatlined the moment she vanished. Without a body or a forensic mistake to anchor the search, the psychological profiling of her complex love life was useless. The investigation ground to a complete halt, freezing the case in silence for 2 agonizing years. In April 2012, the environment broke the stalemate. Days of record-breaking rainfall hit the Charleston area, swelling the local rivers and turning the surrounding suburbs into a saturated, flooded mess. In a local residential backyard, the sheer volume of water caused a sinkhole to open up in the middle of a garden. As the mud washed away, it exposed the edge of a heavy, tied-off plastic bag. When the homeowner's son pulled the bag from the muck and opened it, he backed away in horror. Inside were the remains of Kathy Goble. A random, uncontrollable act of weather had instantly dismantled 2 years of criminal misdirection. Finally, police had the physical evidence they needed. Investigators looked at the property records for the backyard where she was found. The house belonged to Charles March, an unassuming shoe salesman who worked alongside Kathy at the menswear store. Charles was the coworker Kathy had approached just before her shift ended. Fearing an ambush in the parking lot, she had asked him to walk her to her SUV to ensure she got home safely. This detail explains her final phone call. Kathy hadn't been ambushed at Fred's apartment. She had willingly let Charles into her vehicle and then into the apartment because he was the person she trusted to protect her. But Charles had developed a secret obsession with her. After leaving the apartment, he drove her to his house, where he made sexual demands. When she rejected him, he strangled her, buried her in his garden, and then staged her SUV on the highway to throw the police off his scent. For 2 years, detectives had focused on Kathy's messy, dramatic romances, overlooking the quiet background character who had been there all along. We naturally look for danger in our most obvious conflicts, but the most lethal threats rarely announce themselves with a visible motive. Often the predator is simply the one wearing the mask of a protector.